Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hey everybody, it's me, Remy, the comic book poser, and I'm here to welcome you to Enter the Poserverse. It's been a while since I've gotten to interview somebody, and I have missed the hell out of it. So today, I get to talk to a couple of people who have their hand on the new Kickstarter project, Cthulhu Invades Oz. And I'll put that puppy up there before I forget. Cthulhu Invades Oz is a graphic novel. It is functionally an anthology of short stories that kind of flow together to tell a very, very interesting narrative. And I was intrigued to read it. I was intrigued to get to interview people because in being from Kansas, the number of times I travel someplace and some asshole looks at me and goes, "Well, I guess you're not in Kansas anymore," really means that I can relate to watching a mythical Lovecraftian creature tear apart Oz because I hate that fucking movie simply because it mentions Kansas. So, before I start bringing some folks onto the stream, it's been a while since I've got to play this bumper, so here we go.
When I'm flying in a plane or I'm on the street, there's a lot of famous people that I like to meet. They shake my hand and never ask my name, and they start asking questions that are always the same. Hey.
If you didn't know, that's Biff from Back to the Future singing a song about what it's like to know Michael J. Fox. So, welcome to the stream, Stony, Chuck, and David. Thank you for coming in. So, for those of you who don't know, and I think in the description, I linked the description from the press release that was like, here's everybody who has had their hands on this project, and just kind of lists the different creative background. And I'll pull up the description of what everybody has done, but there is some talent on this book. So we'll start with Chuck, and we'll work our way clockwise around the circle. So Chuck, you want to take a second to introduce yourself, tell people what they need to know about you?
See, that's intimidating because there's talent on the book, but we weren't able to get any of that to come on the show. What's up, guys? I'm Chuck Pineau, Pineau. I'm a freelance writer and editor. I was lucky enough to be able to play with the Scarecrow for this, and I also have a couple things on Kickstarter right now. You can check out Belial, which is my comic book, or my novel, Essence House.
Nice. All right. David, you're up next.
So I'm David Galliano. I wrote Savage Bastards for Mad Cave Studios. I was lucky enough to be on this book and write TikTok the Watch, a very interesting story. I'm also part of a couple of other smaller projects. I wrote a back-up story for Freak Show Night called Freak Show Jester, and a couple other things. So that's pretty much it.
Nice. And I don't know why I need to bring Stony up, because I feel like he's been on me and or Comic Burrito's channel so much that like Stony is just now part of the channel. So if you've made the bad life decision and don't know who Stony is, Stony, what about you?
Did anybody else think that sounded a little dirty?
A little bit.
Really dirty.
Just checking. I'm Stony Williams. I colored David's story, The Watch, for this book. It was one of my first coloring endeavors. I had a lot of fun with it. I'm also the writer for Villainous from Mad Cave Studios. Second issue is out November 11th.
It's so good.
It is super good.
And I'll just say, knowing who was coming on the stream, I may have selectively homered my way into my shirt choice. But yeah, we'll say hi. We've got a couple people watching, but only 2 people have said stuff in the chat. Wes is a writer for a blog called Comics The Gathering. Wes, thanks for checking in on Twitter. Yeah, Wes is a good dude. Pete's in the game. Pete's what's going on. Pete loves Cthulhu. And my man Peanut Butter, who I'm about to send his second and third and more comic book ever. Thanks for swinging in. And it looks like Travis is back from his computer dying on him, so...
Hey!
All right. Travis, it's your turn. Tell us a little bit about what we need to know about you as a person.
I am from Rochester, New Hampshire. My parents didn't love me enough because they were drug and alcoholics. That's where it started getting bad. My mom went into rehab, AA, about 13 when they separated. I decided to go with my dad. He went into jail quickly after that, but I didn't want to tell anybody. I mean,
aren't you supposed to introduce yourself everywhere you go now, like every neighborhood you move into, or something like that? I'm just
According to Megan's Law.
No, I am Travis Gibb. I am a comic writer. I do a whole bunch of books. Maybe you heard of some of them. Broke Down at Four Dead Bodies. Voodoo Nations are my things that I'm most known for. However, people seem to like this Cthulhu Invades Oz thing. So you might want to check that out. But yeah, I kind of came up with this idea.
hopefully it'll go somewhere.
So that's it. I know you wanted to know my whole story. You were excited.
Whoever made the fucking Megan's Law joke almost had me spit my beer all over my computer. That was whew, that took a hard turn real fast. And as anybody who watches anything that I do know, that is on brand for my channel. So
Good.
fucking
Taking hard turns actually is what got Travis on this in the first place. So.
And the worst part is none of what I said was a lie. It was a procedure. That's my origin story. You want to hear it?
Nice.
By the way, in the private chat, I gave you a better URL.
I saw that, so I'm gonna switch out the banner as Travis. I'll kick back to you, and I've learned that now I need to ask you a more direct
Yeah.
question,
You got to
so I don't
correct.
get your whole life story. So, as the kind of chief creative mind behind Cthulhu Invades Oz, tell me what made you create this pairing of the badass mythical entity that is Cthulhu and then the wonderful world of Oz.
Well, I decided I wanted to rip 2 franchises off as quickly as possible. Wait, is that no? That was a little too real, right? A little too real. No, what to be honest is this is one of those shows where I'll have to.
If you haven't started drinking yet, then you're already behind. So.
Uh-oh, did Travis freeze on us again?
Dude.
Yeah, but
How
look
does
at
the
that
guy-
pose, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Somebody screenshot that now. He's looking good.
I'm here.
Uh-oh, now he's like, am I frozen?
I'm here.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can now.
We're back. Oh, wait, he's back.
We heard you say you wanted to rip off 2 franchises and then you went into statue mode.
I mean, really, what else did I need to say? Like, that was it. No. Really, if you look on Kickstarter, I'm a Kickstarter creator. I've done a lot of Kickstarter books. Cthulhu does really well on Kickstarter. Oz also does really well on Kickstarter. I needed a property where I could really combine with my friends and really work together. There's a whole bunch of creators that I was meeting that I really wanted to work with, but as a writer, it was really hard to do so. So I came up with this concept. What happens if Cthulhu invades Oz? Asked literally every writer I knew who had any sort of credit whatsoever. So anybody from Scout or Source Point or Image or Aftershock or Mad Cave, wherever they came from, I asked them, hey, will you write this? And 95% of them said yes. And the other ones didn't say no. They just said either I don't know enough about Cthulhu or I'm too busy. So yeah, and with that, we got 50 creators and we put this little shebang together.
Nice. So to the rest of you, now that we've heard Travis's pitch from it, how did any of the 3 of you tell me what your reaction was when you heard the premise for either Cthulhu Invades Oz, or if you were approached with like an individual story in mind, what was your like visceral reaction to his pitch?
What are you doing in my house?
Well, I'll start, I guess. For me, Travis and I actually live locally. We actually have a little like group of creators, including a gentleman named Jonathan Hendrick and stuff like that. Hedrick, sorry, geez, got his name wrong already. So when Travis approached me, they were already well into the project, and I was kind of still an unknown because I hadn't had my book come out yet. And he was like, "Hey, so it turns out I have one extra character. Would you like to write it?" And I was like, "Well, sure. Who's it?" And he said, "TikTok." I was like, "The fat little robot? I'm in. Absolutely. Let's do this." That's pretty much how it went.
Nice.
Because I see David as a fat little robot. So
yeah. You guys can't see me, but I look exactly like TikTok, except for a beard. Really is the only difference.
Flash Ray says the only thing I know about Cthulhu is that he was featured in an episode of Futurama. Yeah. Or you could watch, there were, a 2-part episode of South Park where Cartman yells at Cthulhu about being a bad kitty.
He's in the opening. He's in the opening of Rick and Morty too. So I mean,
Yeah, he never appeared in the show, but he's in the opening, and he's epic in the opening.
Yeah, he is.
All right. We
Bye,
lost
David.
him. Yeah, he was like, "Fuck it, I'm out."
Yeah,
I got my moment. See ya.
Chuck, Stony, what about the two of you? What was your reaction to the pitch or being asked to be on the book?
Okay, I'm being looked at. So, it's funny. Travis and I are very close. We talk an awful lot. And he came to me and he told me he had this really cool idea. He wanted to do Cthulhu in Oz. And I was like mid-eye roll before he said, "But I want it to be one story." And I was like, oh, wait, what? And he's like, "Yeah, man, I want it to be like an invasion. And the whole thing is going to be one story." And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. That's something that's going to be," because anthologies by themselves, it's just like a bunch of people doing their own things and then like, here you go, throw it in a book. You know what I mean? But this was like, oh, we all kind of have to work together, and like there's going to be a lot of, that's interesting. That's exciting. So he really got me on that concept. I didn't know an awful lot about the franchise so much. I mean, obviously I knew the basics of what everybody knows about The Wizard of Oz. I haven't read the books or anything, but certainly watched the movie and enjoyed all that. But with Cthulhu, what I knew is I had played the RPG Call of Cthulhu. Mm-hmm. And in it, basically, you either die or you go fucking insane. And I was like, really, eh? That's interesting, because the thing about it is that the more you learn about the Cthulhu mythos and all that kind of stuff, the less the brain can handle that, and they go nuts. And I was like, ooh, that's a really cool idea. What if like the smartest man in the world ended up learning that stuff? Someone like the Scarecrow. And that got me really excited. And I was like, all right, cool. I've got my pitch, and I just became more and more excited. And I was like, dude, I know that you probably have better guys who are excited about some of these bigger roles, but I think I have something that works. So that's how I came in.
All right. Stony, I'll kind of alter the question to you a little bit, because I know you're kind of stepping out of your comfort zone a little bit, right? That you write more than anything, that I know through other conversations that you're very interested in learning about the lettering process, the coloring process, like doing all of those things to be like the Renaissance man of comics, which means I expect the Stony Williams like solo book at one point in time, even if your art is like stick figures. So what was it like to be approached to do something outside of your typical comfort zone of writing?
It was mind-blowing to be approached, even in the first place. It was about April or May. I decided I was going to start learning to color. I decided I was going to exit this pandemic better than I went into it, and I was going to learn a new skill. And so I started coloring, and I started watching Kurt Michael Russell on YouTube and taking some of his lessons online, watching his live stream. And I was sharing stuff online. I've got an art station where I share my stuff. And David said, "Hey, I'm a part of this anthology, and I want you to color it for me." And I mean, I thought he was crazy. I know he's crazy, but that was just proof. So, but I had an absolute blast. I couldn't believe I was working with Craig Florence on the art, and his art was just amazing, just fucking brilliant stuff. And I was so lucky to get to work with that for some of my first coloring stuff. And I had a great time, and Travis and David had some guys give me some pointers and polish it up. And I'm really proud of the way it came out. Like, I'm really, really proud to be a part of this book.
Nice. Well, like we were talking
Can I talk
about.
that for a minute? Because it's
Oh yeah,
interesting
most definitely.
Go for it.
because David tells me he's got a colorist. He's like, I got a colorist. I was like, great. And I saw Stoney's work, and again, I don't know that Stoney's a writer for Bad Cave. I have no idea. Just David's like, oh yeah, he's a colorist, and I see it. And it's not that Stoney's art was bad, colors was bad at all. It just wasn't a par to the rest of the coloring in the book. You know, some of the shading and stuff. And again, because I didn't know this was his first work. So we got us our glasses, and then at the end, he's like, "Yeah, Stoney's book Villainous is coming out." It's like he's writing a book. I was like, with those colors, I really want to see him color something else. He's like, "No, Travis, he's a writer." I was like, "What? What are you talking about?"
Okay, so here's how it goes. Like Stony is like my brother in comics. Like
Absolutely.
when we both won the Mad Cave contest, like we really clicked right off the bat. We started talking all the time. So I just wanted to have a project where the two of us would be together on it, you know? And it wasn't my project, so I couldn't just go to Travis and be like, "Hey, I got another person to write a story for you," you know, even though you just barely had a space for me. So, but I was like, I saw that Stoney was doing the coloring thing, and I was like, well, shit, this is a way for me and him to have our names on the same book together, you know? Eventually, we'll have our names together on a book because we're actually going to probably write something together. But this was just like the first, this was just the first, you know, time that we could do that, and I was very happy with it.
All right. So here's where I'm going to see what it looks like when we're all squished together and I share my screen. So
Badass.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like how I stopped right on the line, like, oh, hello. So I finished reading the book today, and I like how it's the anthology feel, right? That you can feel the artistic influence, the writing style of each author, right? If you look on the Kickstarter page, you are getting a little taste. There he is again. Of kind of each chapter of the book, so to speak. I thought this Jack Pumpkinhead story was kind of funny. So I guess I'll direct this question to Travis. Was there a particular method to the madness of both the characters from the Oz franchise that you wanted to tell, and then the sequencing of how you wanted to tell each of these stories in terms of the invasion?
So what we did was there wasn't really I didn't really give anybody direction or tell someone how to do anything. I didn't really want to do that. It wasn't my spot, but I set up some rules in place that were really important if you're going to be part of this anthology. So the rules are you can't use somebody else's character without their permission, except if you're referencing the original book. So if you're referencing the original book, then you're more than welcome to do that. But if you want to use, so for instance, in the TikTok story, he uses Tin Man, but that's with permission of Jonathan Hendrick, because that is that's the guy who did Tin Man. So everybody had their own character. The beginning and the end were kind of known. So the twists at the end and the beginning were there. So that's thanks.
There's more love. Wes loved it, and Wes should write something for Comics the Gathering if he hasn't already.
But yeah, so what we did at the beginning and the end were the only thing set up. The other thing was invasion dates, making sure things happen in a passion. Mm-hmm. And then the only time I ever really got involved is I was like, hey man, like not everybody can destroy the Emerald City. We've got to figure this out, right? not everyone can do that. Let's figure out what that looks like. But no, I didn't really dictate. I did read the scripts. And I gave them a rough outline of when things would happen. So I took the stories from script format and said, this is prologue. This is, basically first act, the first attacks on Oz. This is, the war. This is the Emerald City War. And this is the aftermath. And kind of split them up into those sections. So people kind of knew where their book was going to be. But nothing was set in stone. And even like the format that you read, though that's probably going to be the format, Chuck and my wife really have the final say. They're the editors of the book. they're going to go through that and decide whether or not those all flow in the right area.
Sure. And I'll ask a similar question then to Chuck and David. Knowing the characters that you got, what kind of informed, like, what was the reasoning to the way that you wrote the individual stories and the way that you each decided to?
So for TikTok, I just kind of looked at the character, like, what is TikTok? Like, who is TikTok? And really, like, when you read his stories, he's a guardian. I mean, that's really like his purpose. Like, yeah, he does a little traveling and such, but in the end, he's a guardian, and he's pretty tied to the Rose Kingdom portion of Oz. So that's kind of where my story takes place. He kind of gets called up by the Tin Man to do his service to Oz, and that's kind of where I went with it. I got to play around with some of the other characters that were associated with TikTok that aren't necessarily associated with other characters. People like the Shaggy Man, which I love. I keep wanting to call him the Raggedy Man, but he's actually the Shaggy Man. And the way that Craig Florence draws him, he kind of looks like a rogue from like D&D. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So just, I mean, it was really cool just to be able to kind of work on a character whose main purpose is to protect other people. So.
Okay. And Chuck, same question.
For me, it was more about I wanted to really focus on the things the attributes of the Scarecrow that I found sort of the most prevalent. And so for me, there was a loyalty, and of course there was a wisdom that was going to have to come out, and like a level of logic. And so I really wanted to lean hard into that logic. And because afterwards in the books and whatnot, he ends up working as an advisor for Princess Ozma. I was like, he's got to know they don't have a chance. Like, they just don't have a shot if he knows anything. So what would he do, and how would he attack that, knowing that he has to find some way? And so that's what I did. And actually, if you find, he has this very logical way of looking at everything, and how he ends up doing it. He ends up grabbing all these random items as he flees the castle, and you're like, why is he even grabbing this? And then you get to see how it all comes together, and you're like, oh, that's neat. So, I wanted to play off of those attributes and really show almost more of a cunning to the character that had not been seen.
Okay. So Stony knows that I like to ask this question because I got to see some of his reaction when Villainous was kind of released to the world, where he had seen bits and pieces, but he had not necessarily seen some of the finished product when it came out. In terms of working with the other creative talent that you each have on your individual stories, how much, like, I know y'all were saying backstage, for as much as you all have worked together on a book, aside from Stony and David, who are together in one story, that y'all don't, right, might not know each other a whole bunch. How much work did you do with your artists or your colorists? Like, how much conversation was there on each story? Or was it everybody kind of stays in their own lane, that I know the artist will kind of draw it this way and the colorist will do their own thing? Like, was it a big collaborative effort, or was it everybody did their own thing and then we were all blown away by the work of the other people?
I guess I would say for my team personally, we were blown away. I picked my team. I got Kyron Silva. I've worked with him before. He's very talented. He tends to do his own books, but he gets other people to pencil his stuff, and he's a really good penciler. So I was like, no, you're gonna pencil this. And he was like, okay, cool, yeah. If you believe in me, and I'm like, hell yeah, I do. You guys, you can swing with the rest of these boys. And then I've worked with Alan Ellsworth, who is a colorist. He did some coloring work here and there on some things, and I thought, it's about time that you really got to step up and have more of the limelight. And so I just said, guys, like, this is the group of creators we're working with. I want to shine. So I'm going to write the best damn story I can, but then it's up to you guys. Like, you got to make us all look good. And so I think all of us were really excited by the caliber of talent that was on the book. And so all of us rose to the occasion. if you look at Kyron's story and his work, actually, he threw tons of Easter eggs in there and had lots of fun. And his pencils are really crisp. He did a really good job. And then when Alan came in, he had this brilliant idea. He's like, first off, why don't we throw a texture on there? I want it to look really old school. We're like, okay, cool. That sounds really awesome. And then in our story, we go from Oz to Earth and then back again. And so he made the decision that when they go back to Earth, let's do a little bit of a nod to the movie and we'll do it in black and white. And I was like, oh, snap. That's really cool. So everybody just got super inspired by all the other talent that was there. And we just decided, let's rise up. And really what we wanted to make sure is in almost every anthology, you know which one the bad story is. And we refused for that to be us. Refused.
I'm going to take the crown for that one.
I like that. And before I kick over to David or Stony for that, in terms of looking at just the magnitude of talent on this is like a third of the way down the Kickstarter page where you can see the bibliography of literally everybody who has written, drawn, touched anything. And when I first saw this list, I was like, holy shit, just like checking off the things that I've read, the things that I've ordered and been like, I love all of these people. So to get them all in one book was just insane to me. So I like the idea that, you know, Chuck, you said you're going to inspire your team by going, here's everybody who's on this. While it's not a competition, it's a competition for pride where we're all like, we're going to outshine each other. So I think that's awesome. To kind of inspire a team that way. How about David or Stony? What about the two of y'all?
Well, so I was actually paired with my artist, Craig Florence by Travis, and I was actually blessed with my artist because Craig Florence does such an amazing job. When we first started talking, we both like really clicked, and we both kind of got the idea of what we wanted to do. We wanted to have kind of some of the classic feel of Oz in our story, but with a more modern take on the characters. If you look at TikTok in the book, he looks a lot like the movie and the illustration, but also with kind of this like almost hardened like veteran kind of look. Again, we talked about how the Shaggy Man looks basically like a rogue. The gardener for the Rose Kingdom is this big hulking, but balding, glasses wearing gentleman. With just the whole style.
Does he kind of look like this?
Yes, that's actually, I think that might have been Craig's inspiration. So I was blessed to have Craig. And then when we brought Stony on, Stony had just started coloring, and I was very happy with what we were seeing at first, but there was just something missing. And we paired him up with one of the guys who actually did one of the covers for the book. His name is Dirk Grob. I believe his cover is going to be the one. Travis can correct me on this, but I think it's the one for the stores, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. You can get it if you buy a certain package, but the majority of the time you're going to see it only in stores when we do store signings and stuff like that.
Yeah, and Dirk is another.
One? Hold on, is it? Whoops, that one.
Yes,
Yep.
That's the one. Yep.
Beautiful cover. It was actually first art piece we created for the book.
Nice. Sorry to interrupt. I wanted to make sure I pulled up the right one in that moment.
Absolutely. And so he's fantastic artist, and he was really able to help Stony in bringing that coloring up to the level of the rest of the project. And let me tell you, like, Stony rose to the occasion. I mean, when you look at I wish I could show you the pages before and then the pages after, his end results are amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, so from the get-go, really, the three of us, David, Craig, and I, were in a Facebook message group together, and we're shooting ideas back and forth in an almost constant conversation as it got going. And as soon as they had even concept art for me, I was working on colors and stuff, and we were passing ideas back and forth. And so we were really on the same page the whole way through. And I worked with Dirk. Travis also had me talk to Alan Ellsworth, who I believe did Chuck's book. Yep. Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
And so I worked with both of them on the colors, and they had some suggestions for me, and it was great because I mean I'd done these classes and I'd watched some live streams, and so I knew like the technical part of it, but the application and the experience and how to apply it was something that I needed some direction on, because I mean this was the panels I'd ever actually gotten to work on, right? So but they were really cool about it, and they gave me some pointers, and it was a wonderful experience. I really liked working with everybody, but especially David and Craig. We were really a team from the get-go, which was an incredible experience.
Nice. So Travis, as you kind of started to pick your ideal clusters of people and kind of talk about the characters and the process of how you wanted to weave this story together, as you started getting samples of either scripts or art panels or even finished pages back or semi-finished pages, how did you feel kind of throughout this process of watching your dream team kind of bring your collision of two worlds to life?
Oh, I mean, it was really great. As someone who's done tons of anthologies, like I do 3 or 4 anthologies a year that I submit to, and I get accepted to a decent amount of them. It was really cool seeing the difference between handpicking or submitting your stories, because at submitting you get people at various levels, but we had all professionals. And it was funny. So like Chuck would throw out his Kyron's page 2. That would inspire everybody in the team to make sure they got a page up within that week to show and go, hey, this is what we're doing. So it was this vicious battle of one-upmanship that kind of built everybody together. And seeing stuff like Stony and David, this is the second artist, Craig was the second artist he's ever worked with, and seeing that and seeing the differences and how we talked about it. Same thing with Stony. When Stony did the coloring, Craig is not an easy guy to color. His line work is very, very detailed. So you've got to be very careful when you do stuff. All that stuff kind of playing in on each other and building was just really exciting. So I really liked that whole process and building that.
Nice.
Yeah, that was one of the coolest things about being part of this project was the production group on Facebook we were all a part of, and the camaraderie and seeing everybody work on this stuff and being fans of each other and supporting each other and being excited about each other's stuff and seeing the different pieces of the stories all come together, and especially for somebody who's a process junkie and likes to see how color books are made from the word go. It was incredible to get to see, and such an amazing group of people to be a part of. It was really, really cool.
Nice.
In that group, you can go if you want. You're the big guy.
No. I was gonna just tell a story. Like, one of the things that I wanted to mention that before is knowing people's processes. Like Richard Rivera has a very different process. Like he wants to feel out the story, and like building that part of it, which I think is very fascinating. Where some people were straight scripts, some people were kind of movie scripts, some people were Stan Lee-ish, and kind of building that as they go. Some were really collaborative, some weren't. So that was it. I just found that fascinating.
Chuck,
it's too late now, sweetheart. No, that production group that Stony was talking about, we had one guy who's another pro, really great dude. He ended up randomly being added into the group, and he was like, I don't know why I'm here, but this is really fucking cool. Like, I really like what you guys are doing here. And after a while, it's just like, hey, do you want to do something? So that's Don Wynn, and Don Wynn ended up getting brought into the project just because he was added accidentally, and he loved what everybody was doing and what was going on so much that we were like, we like what you do. Like, yeah, come on in. Why don't you do something as well? So it was actually probably one of the more enjoyable experiences you'll get on an anthology, because, again, there was that camaraderie and there was a lot of us kind of working together. Even, I don't know about the other guys who wrote scripts, but, like, I had people coming to me saying, hey, I want to use the Scarecrow And I'd be like, yeah, you can read my script. Like, we could talk about it. And so you ended up like sharing scripts and having conversations. It was honestly, it was the funnest I've ever had on an anthology ever.
Nice. So I want to talk about the Kickstarter page itself for a second. And here's one of the things that I look at as someone who is a potential backer. And I was talking to Chuck about this. The amount of money that I've spent on Kickstarter this year is something that I'm afraid to share with my wife, because I feel like we're seeing a real renaissance of independent creators on Kickstarter. And then the sheer number of books that are starting off on Kickstarter that then get picked up by a publisher that you're seeing, like, here was the Kickstarter version, and then here are little tweaks. I can't think of the Scout story off the top of my head now. The one that in fucking Pennsylvania. But like, I was going back and forth with someone, and they were like, yeah, we made changes from the Kickstarter version. So one of the things that I look at, and what I think is really cool in seeing Travis at the top, is the number of people that I've had solicit me to look at a Kickstarter, talk about a Kickstarter, ask me to back a Kickstarter, and it's their third created project, but they've never backed anything themselves, is hard for me to kind of swallow as a consumer, because you're not willing to kind of help back other things. So before we dive into some of the specific elements, some of the levels, some of the extra rewards that you get, Travis, what drives you to back as many projects as you have? Because your 334 puts me to shame.
I love creators, and I love to support other people. I really do. I really believe in it. And most of those, and Chuck can back me up, they're mostly physical. Those aren't just, digital rewards. There is a decent amount of digital rewards. I won't lie, but if you are of talent, I probably bought your book physical and own it. It's just, I want to be part of this community. I believe and love this community. And I think, it's why everyone said a yes to me, is because I invest in them. I'm not just blowing smoke. I really want to be part of this community. I want to create things with great people. And I'm going to back people up, and I'm going to do whatever I can to help them succeed. And I know the importance of that, right? Because I back so many projects, there's a lot of people who follow me. So when I back it, when I back a project, all those people get a message that says I back it. So it means something, and I take that very seriously. So yeah, that's why you're seeing my number so high. And it's just, there's some great stuff on Kickstarter, man. There's some amazing products that you won't see at your comic store.
Yeah. So in terms of talking about it, one of the things that I think is really cool, aside from the covers, aside from some of the rewards, I like the way that, where's it at? How you've got your milestone rewards or your stretch goals, where at like every certain number of backers, you're getting an additional either digital comic or a preview of an individual story. And that's something that I've not really seen a lot, right? That usually these kinds of stretch goals or these additional goals are just like, oh, now it's a real hardcover instead of a soft hardcover. So
Right.
what made you decide to go the extra content route instead of like, here are some changes to some of the product route?
Well, I want everyone to grow together. I want people to get excited about this. I want people to see, like, oh, if we get to 300 backers, I'm going to get all these cool books. I want people to be part of it and get excited when they get their package from us that, hey, look at all the cool things we've got. I also want people to unlock things as we're doing this, so we can all do this as a community. We have creators. I would love it, the whole book to be online if we get to that point. I'll show the whole book off. We'll do the whole stories. So I went that route to really give back and, again, show people, hey, invest in this. We are 3 away from right now, 3 backers away from unlocking both another digital book for people and another story for people. That's really exciting. And if I was on this Kickstarter, I want to be excited about this book. I think this is an exciting book. Like, unlike all my other projects or anybody's projects here, I don't have to explain it. If you know what Cthulhu is and you know what Oz is, you know what this is all about. And even the gentleman who said, "Hey, I saw Cthulhu. All I know is from Futurama." You know enough of this book to be able to decide whether or not it's something you dig.
Yeah. And here's where I'll show the numbers off, right? That they're a little over 50% to their goal. Like he said, 3 backers away from hitting the next unlock. Here's where I'll kind of put my challenge to the people who are either watching now or on the rewind. Like a lot of us talk about how much we love independent comics, how much we love reading new things. And if you wanted to find a way to get like a greatest hits of independent comics or independent creators, again, it's just looking at not just the people who have worked for various publishers, but then looking at all of these independent creators who have hopped on to tell this just wild and zany story about the clash of two franchises that if you think about putting them together, you're like, that doesn't make any sense. And then when you read the book, it makes a lot of sense. So in terms of looking at some of the different levels, what has been the area where you've seen like the biggest amount of backers, or what seemed the most attractive to people who have backed the project so far?
That is an interesting question. Let's look up that answer. I'm on the back end. I'll look it up. I don't know it off the top of my head. It's definitely physical and digital, because we had some early bird rewards to get people back on. So the highest, is the soft cover, but the second is the hardcover. It's the soft cover and the hardcover. Those 2 books are what people are after, either a soft cover version or a hardcover version of this book. What makes this book different than other things is I can't really do 20 variant covers, right? It's just not going to work. Nobody buys 20 different variant covers of the trade, right? You go to somebody's house. Why do you have 3 copies of this trade? That's really weird. So we had to rely on different things. In fact, we just unlocked a new stretch goal today, which is really cool. That is not stretch goal, pledge, where you can get the book polybagged with 3 other creators' books that are in this. So I'm going to get some books from David. I've got some Chuck. I'll probably ask Stony for a couple of villains signed, and we're going to give you signed books with the trade to try to get you enticed at a low price. It's $47.
Yeah, I saw that. The Blood Brick Road bag, which is a fun. It ain't yellow because Cthulhu done tore that up.
Yeah, well, that made me really mad. Like a week into this thing, after we're at halfway funded, I go to Chuck. I was like, "Chuck, Bloody Brick Road, is it amazing?" He's like, "Yeah, that's a great tagline." Yeah, don't wish you thought about that like months ago when we were pre-production. That would have been in all of our marketing. Every flag had a Bloody Brick Road cover,
T-shirts, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, the whole 9 yards. Nothing.
Can I jump in here for a second too?
Yeah,
Just go back to your point. So we were talking with Travis about why he does this. When he says that he supports other creators, he's not joking. Especially like locally, he put together a group of all of us who write and are within a certain distance, who write and draw and things like that, so we can help each other get to the next level of comic books. He's constantly helping people on Kickstarter. He answers questions for people. He offers people opportunities, like he offered a lot of people opportunities on this book and other projects. Travis is one of those people who genuinely believes in indie creators and wants to make indie creators move to that next level. So I just wanted to show my appreciation for him, because he backs all those projects because he believes in them. He really does.
Nice. Nice. Can any of you translate what Vincent McLean the Comic Machine is saying?
He says, "Eat more vegetables." Oh. If I'm not mistaken, that's the chant that the cultists speak whenever they try to either summon or whatever it is that they do with Cthulhu. That's like their chant, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe it's something in the book.
Yeah, it's something to do with Cthulhu residing in the dead city and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Riley would be the city. I think Fatagan means weights. I could be wrong, but I think Fatagan means weights. The last word.
I think he asks a good follow-up. So I think Travis's pitch of, as long as you know who Cthulhu is and what Oz is, that's the only background you need for this book. but I think he asks a good question here. What are some things that, if you were someone who wanted to read more like Cthulhu Mythos, what would be some good additional reading that he could take on before Cthulhu Invades Oz makes it to his house?
You buy multiple trades of Cthulhu Invades Oz, and you just read them consecutively. And sorry,
Smart.
Nice.
Believe it or not, there's not a lot. I mean, there's a lot, but there's not a lot that it's true Cthulhu Mythos. Everybody has gone to inspire. Right. That's the term I was looking for. It's all inspired by. So to get like proper Cthulhu Mythos, you're going to have to get, there's a gentleman here. I'll give you his Kickstarter in just 2 seconds. I'm going to legit find him. He does traditional retellings of Cthulhu myths. He's live on Kickstarter. He always gets projects we love. He is probably the best guy for it because he literally takes H.P. Lovecraft and retells it in a slightly modern style. Let me find it.
Jerome.
What's Jerome saying?
I mean, Jerome's dead on right, too. It's true. All you need to know... Well, and that's the nice thing. You don't even necessarily need to know a lot about Cthulhu because you'll learn it as the story moves onwards. So if you know one or the other, you're still more than well equipped to jump into the franchise. So it's not like you're going to be left behind. And you know, he was giving us all of that Cthulhu dialogue there. You don't need to know that stuff off by heart in order to enjoy it. Hell, a lot of it, I was like, I know that's Cthulhu dialogue, and that's it. So yeah, you don't need to be that huge of a fan.
Well, and I can say that there are a couple that are either out or coming out. I know that Miskatonic High is something that started as a small imprint through Ashcan, and then they kickstarted. I think they're through 5 issues now. And then Aftershock has a book coming out. I think it's within the next month. That's called Miskatonic, which is the river in Lovecraft's tale. And it is a like noir Cthulhu tale. And I'm going to copy this link that Travis gave me in the private chat, and I'm going to drop that here in the chat for everybody else as well. But like, I think we're seeing more people want to play with that Cthulhu mythos, that it's picking up a little bit of popularity now too. And I'll say from reading this that I think it does a good job of you not feeling like you need to know everything about Lovecraft or Cthulhu, that as long as you know that he's just a fucking bad entity that can wreak destruction in seconds, that's what you need, and it plays with the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, it's a big question, or it's a big question to answer. If somebody's asking, what do I need to read or whatever to understand Cthulhu per se? Cthulhu is it's because it's public domain. It's in almost every form of. There's my boy Craig. So Cthulhu is pretty much in almost every popular media now. You know, the best thing you can do if you're really concerned about knowing who Cthulhu is before you read this book is just Wikipedia it. just go on Google, get a little background. There's not much you need to know.
All right, Craig, since I saw you just pop in and I threw you in the middle of David talking, I'll give you the same kind of first question I gave everybody else. What do we need to know about you outside of your contribution to the book? And then tell us what you did as a contribution to the book.
So, hi guys. I'm socially awkward, and I first of all, outside of the book, I mean, I've been doing comics for probably a little over 2 years now, and this was a really exciting project. I worked with David and Stony on The Watch, and I had a lot of fun with it. And there's been a lot of great people involved. Currently, I'm working on a couple other things. I'm trying to bang out some pages right now. I've kind of gone a little bit behind. I have a bit of a cold, and I'm actually waiting on a COVID test, so I'm quarantined.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I think it's just a cold. I've actually gotten a lot better over a couple days, but keeping an eye on that. Yeah, I've just been listening to you guys here for a little bit, and you're going to pop in. So yeah, thanks for having me on here, and
yeah. Well, and if there's anybody else you want to add, we can fit. I think it's 4 more people into the stream that we can just have an obscene Hollywood squares of Cthulhu Invades Oz.
There may be one more. Hold on, I got one talking. But the real question for Craig is, when is he going to draw some broke down stuff for me? That's really why we're here. Right, that's why we're here, right? It's an intervention to get him to draw for me, right? That's
I'm down. You know,
what's that?
That I'm down. I like I said, I'm balancing a couple things at the moment, and then I've talked to David about this too. I for a while, like I've had before, not to backtrack too much, but anywho, I've had a kind of a personal thing on the back burner for a little while, and I'm trying to shift some focus over there after these past 2 years, really trying to get involved as much as possible with other indie projects and creators and anthologies, and just like learning a lot about the process of making comics and everything about it. I feel a little bit more confident doing that. So outside of that, like, balance of time, it's like the hardest thing. I know a lot of you guys have kids and stuff. Stoney's like, but
yeah. I complain about my kids, and then I'm like, oh shit, Stony has like an army of children.
Yeah. Well, listen, I've been courting Craig since after we worked on TikTok, and he's been really sweet. He's been doing like the I'm not that into you kind of thing, where it's like, oh yeah, I'd love to work with you sometime, like maybe, just I got all these things going on. I'm like, all right, man, all right, but I'm gonna keep coming at you, like, I'm persistent. So I'm gonna start giving you like weird back rubs and stuff, and make it really awkward.
I feel like I need to put all 6 of us on the screen with what Bearded Comic Bro said, what Greg said. That's a lot of beards on one screen. Yeah. And then Vince said his wife asked us if everybody has beards. And I think the answer tonight is that yes, 6 out of 6 people on the screen have a beard.
Only the good comic creators.
I've seen Gail Simone live in Texas.
Oh,
she too has
beautiful beard.
So beautiful, gorgeous.
Yeah,
very luxurious.
All right,
handsome woman.
Since we're hitting the hour mark, I figure I'll ask you all my trademark question, and Stoney knows what's coming. I am a very audio-visual person when I read books. Like, I have a dumb music brain that the moment I hear something or I start reading something, like a soundtrack starts to pop into the back of my head. And I love that we're seeing a renaissance, particularly in different indie books that are like, here's the soundtrack. Like Tina Horn in Safe Sex has a Spotify playlist. That Texas Blood has a QR code that you can do for a playlist. Terminal Punks is coming out with a playlist. Like, everything that I'm starting to read has that musical connection. So as we bring in our next guest to the stream, although I don't know if I can bring him on because I don't see a beard, that the beard ratio...
He has a beard. It's just a devil beard. It's a small little...
But while I give Mike the same kind of intro question in a second, what I want the rest of you to think about is the perfect 1 or 2 songs that I should listen to in terms of enjoying your individual story or enjoying a page or panels of your art. And Mike, I'm going to give you the full screen now. For people who may not be aware, tell us who you are, what you did on the book, what you do outside of Cthulhu Invades Oz.
Hi, what's up? My name is Mike Watson. I'm the founder of Short Fuse Media Group and publisher of Short Fuse Media Group and founder of Freestyle Comics. I did a little insert that is going to be seen a few times in the book, dealing with some worker bees that repair different cities in Oz, in Emerald City or whatnot. And I thought it was pretty cool. Travis came to me with the idea and let me know that he was working on the project, had a spot for me, let me also know the roster of people that were in it, and I was like, oh, you bet your ass I want to be part of that. So that was super fun. And you said you want me to answer what music should you listen to if reading any of my work or checking out the artwork for a comic book?
For this one, and then you can tell us about any of your stuff.
Oh wow, that's somebody.
If you need a second to think about it, I'll bring everybody back on the screen, and if someone's ready to volunteer an answer, I'm ready to hear it.
You might be the first person to shut me up online because I do not have an answer.
Oh, I've definitely.
Thank you, Remy. You're a good dude.
Win.
I've definitely got one, and it
All
works
right.
perfectly on many levels. Miley Cyrus, Wrecking Ball, because you can dance to it, you can run to it. No, but I mean, like when you actually read the story TikTok, he is kind of like a little wrecking ball. So, yeah, Miley Cyrus, Wrecking Ball. That's my answer.
Nice. I will put that on the list, and I'm going to make a playlist and put it here on the channel because I think I've asked that question to everybody, and I think my other favorite answer, it was either Frankie White who did 20 Fists, or it was Jared when I talked to him about Dryfoot. His answer was one of their answers was Heat of the Moment by Asia 5 times. And I was like, that really fits with the book. So David tells us that Wrecking Ball goes with TikTok. Who else has one?
Yeah, I got one. I'm a banger. I also really like heavy metal. So for me, the song that I picked, I'd already actually picked this, and I'd thrown it up on my page. So it's funny that you even mentioned it because I'm right with you. I love the mixture of music and my books and whatnot. So Megadeth's Sweating Bullets. It's all about the descent into madness. And yeah, dude, that's just a killer track, and it's all about the descent into madness. And so for me, I was like, dude, you could totally listen to that and just see Scarecrow's brain just go insane. So yeah,
I like that. That's a good one. All right, someone's got to top that one now.
Well, I've got mine. So I've got two. I've got one kind of for the anthology. You know, if you're gonna do a Wizard of Oz anthology, you have to take Elton John's, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. I think for the anthology, I think you need it.
Mm-hmm.
I know it feels cliche, but I feel it's necessary, especially if you read the book. Like, it definitely fits, especially in the opening and stuff. Another one is a weird song from my youth. You guys all know Barbie Girl, but there's a song called Goodbye to the Circus by Aqua that I think would be a really good fit. It's a really creepy ballad to say goodbye to the end of their album, but it's really, really creepy. It's got this Oz vibe, and I would definitely put that on a playlist for this.
I never thought I would hear someone go, here's a deep cut by Aqua. That might have knocked out Heat of the Moment on repeat. I owned that album because I bought most of my CDs in the day of Columbia House and the other buy one CD and get 32 for a penny. So I owned the Aqua album. So some Aqua deep cuts is good. So,
and you know that song?
Yeah,
it's a great song. I listen.
It makes sense. I like that. All right, Stony or Craig or Mike, you got one?
So I think towards the end of ours, the last 2 or 3 pages needs something kind of operatic, like Ride of the Valkyries, or maybe even the Immigrant Song, like something like that. There's an awesome fight scene that I think really needs something along those lines. That's what I'd use. Yeah.
I think that's a little bit cheating because I think you put one of those on your Vala playlist, but I'll let it slide.
Actually, right. He's not here, but I think David even did a playlist on Spotify for Savage Bastards as well.
I think so. Jerome says, I've heard a rumor that if you read it at a certain pace, it fits with Dark Side of the Moon. Very excellent Dark Side of the Rainbow reference, Jerome. You win some
By the way,
points on that
Bearded Comic
one.
Bro mentioning Killer Groove, like I thought I was the only one in the world who read that comic book. So kudos to you.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Greg. That Greg and I read a lot of the same kind of big stuff. And hello, Trish. I like your Harley Quinn photo.
Well, I'm a crime guy, so anything crime, like I read it.
Yeah. All right, Mike or Craig, you got one? Or is Mike, did I finally make Mike tap out?
I'm gonna. It may not work because my story is short. It's a repeater page that gets used a few times throughout. But I'm gonna say the theme of it is Michael Jackson's "Just Leave Me Alone."
Okay.
All right. I like it.
I dig it.
You have to stay big for a second while I write that down.
Oh, no problem. I'll just sit up here and I'll do some hand tricks.
So let's talk about Michael Watson's part. So what he did, he's the only one who created original characters for Oz. So there's a small reference in the books there says, oh, the bees fix everything. It was just a small throwaway line that we made into a story. So he created these characters who literally fix broken cities that are in Oz. If something breaks, these bees go and fix it. They're like the fixing crew of Oz. And what we did is we had a few writers who really wanted to be in the book take those parts and get to do it, which I thought was really cool. And so Mike Watson's going to have a whole bunch of writers who wrote his couple of page stories.
Those things it was really fun. I really dug the premise of it. I thought, when you do gags like this in comic books, they've got to have a couple different elements to them. They should be simple and easy to catch on. And I thought it was very clever that, the page is going to repeat a few times throughout the book to build up that idea of them always going out to fix things. And, how much does it take to, this is their job. This is what they are supposed to be doing all the time. So it must be a lot going on that, what is it going to take to break the camel's back with these bees before they just say, you know what, F it, we're done.
Nice. So before I see if Craig's got something or if he's too busy in the grind, I've realized that we are an hour into this and I haven't mentioned the fact that I love to give away things on Thursdays, that I buy multiple copies of every single kind of book in the universe. And instead of giving away some of the extra stuff that I bought tonight, here is what you can do to get me to back Cthulhu Invades Oz again for someone here who is watching either live or on the rewind. In the comments of this video, I want you to tell me what you would love to see Cthulhu invade next. Like, what would be the next great Cthulhu plus what mashup? And I will pick my favorite answer. None of this rigged wheel crap. It's going to be the rigged poser choice. What I think is going to be the best mashup will get me to back Cthulhu Invades Oz for a second time and get it to ship to you when it finally comes out. So what is the best Cthulhu Invades sequel to Cthulhu Invades Oz will get you a free physical copy of Cthulhu Invades Oz when it comes out. All right, Craig.
It'll be signed. We'll even make sure it's signed to that person. So we'll make sure it's signed by at least 5 guys. So it'll be the 5, regardless of what level you back. We'll make sure it's signed.
Boom. I like that. All right, Craig. Are you too deep in the grind, or you got a suggestion?
Yeah, I kept hoping you guys would forget about me over here.
Never.
But those guys, I mean, they nailed it. I mean, for me, I'm just.
I'll let it happen since you don't.
Yeah, I'll come back. If something like strikes me here, I will interrupt. And,
Chuck, is that you? Cthulhu
That's me, buddy.
My Little Pony.
Hell yeah! Take those bitches down.
So
Chuck wants to die. That My Little Pony crowd is vicious.
I know. I'm
Especially
excited,
the bronies.
man.
Don't mess with the bronies.
I'm finding where it is in my stack of books that I picked up today.
If it's a Cthulhu pony, that'd be great.
No, I am a sucker for this book.
Transform. Yeah, that's
Oh, I've heard good things. Funny enough,
that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, and I bought the first one because I was like, I kind of want to see what happens, but Transformers: My Little Pony might be a legitimately okay book.
I've heard that.
Cthulhu Invades Grey's Anatomy.
No, you leave Grey alone. It's the greatest doctor show of all time. They have enough problems.
Joey Bag of Seven says Cthulhu Invades Wonderland.
Huh. Weird.
And then Trish wants Cthulhu and Zombies, which that would be a good classic horror matchup. I like that. But yeah,
if Cthulhu invaded Grey's Anatomy, he just ended up in a supply closet with an intern, right?
Yeah.
It's fuck McDreamy.
That show is so much more than the raunchy sex scenes in the back room.
I think this may show that I'm married, but isn't that the premise of Private Practice, the spinoff? Isn't that
Also true. Yes. There you go. Keeping on this weird Grey's Anatomy theme, since many of you know more about Grey's Anatomy than I thought we would. So we have McSteamy and McDreamy. Cthulhu would be Mick what?
McSlimey?
Creepy?
McGroovy?
McCrazy?
All right, I got nothing else to say to that. The last question that I've got, and then we can let this continue to go in any other direction we want to.
I'm not sure you want that.
Look,
I love the true artists here. Craig and Mike aren't even looking up; they're just working their ass off. What's up? This is another question.
Yeah.
This is my whole night.
So one of the other things that I like about I think it was David says that he's collecting a lot of trades to read, which I get that too. I like one of the reasons why I get pulled to trades or director's cuts of books is I like that extra like peek behind the cover. I like seeing some raw script. I like seeing some raw art, some initial pencils. So the one thing that I see I think it's at every level but one. Talk to me, Travis, about what I can expect from an audio commentary, which is something I think I've never seen before paired with a comic.
Yeah, so it's basically us. I'm going to get as many of the creators as I can on a StreamYard, which I think the max is 10. Am I right, Mike?
Yes, sir.
So I'll get 10 of us, and I may even do it in sections, and we'll get on and we'll talk. We'll go through the book. We'll go through sections of the book, talk about it, talk about what you felt when they first saw the art, talk about their favorite stories in it, and really like dissect Cthulhu Invades Oz from a creator standpoint. Tell some of the stories of how we put the teams together. I think that would be a dynamic thing. A friend of ours, that's not my idea. The person who did that, which is really cool, is Russell Maltese. He's the one who did it for Cthulhu is Hard to Spell. Number 2, he did it. I found it fascinating. He did commentary, and like it was really interesting, especially me because I was a late entry to that book, and he was like, I didn't even choose this book. And then he talked about the story of why he ended up choosing me. And it was really interesting, especially for someone who's in anthologies or wanted to be part of anthologies, getting the mindset of how to pitch to him or be part of it.
Nice. Are the rest of you excited to kind of offer a peek behind the hood in an audio commentary?
I would love to, and I can also provide the video of me drawing the pages at high speed. If you want that, Travis, I can send that to you too.
Yeah, we may do that. Yeah.
And if you want, Travis, I know that Stony and I could do the commentary in our boxers. Like nobody has to know. Like it'll just be from the top up, but we can do it in the boxers. I'm sure that'll, be a bigger selling point in some areas, like especially like Kansas, especially.
Can you do those penis puppets?
Speaking of,
Pants are
Stony,
optional for this, right?
what
Pants
kind
were
of
optional?
pajama pants are you wearing right now?
Yeah, what kind do you have on, Stony? Let's see them.
I hate all of you. They're my Nickelodeon pajama pants.
Oh yeah.
Got some Reptar. Yeah.
Nice.
I saw some Rocco on there. Nice.
I hate you, poser.
You're welcome. So Stony and I, like I've said, hang out with the Comic Burrito guys, where one night where one of us in the chat were drunk and invented the pants check. And I can't remember what Stony was wearing when they interviewed him, but it was some kind of
actually.
It might have been, and we were blown away at the quality of Stony's pants. So the last thing that I want to mention about the book, and I'm going to ask Travis's okay before I do it. One of the things that can be both good and bad about anthologies, especially in a graphic novel form, is that it just doesn't feel like it flows together. Right. And one of the things that I really enjoy about the art here is that it makes sense for the given story. So if I promise to not linger on any specific page, but to just kind of scroll through the PDF so people can see all the different art styles, is that something that would be acceptable?
Yeah, have fun. If someone really wants to watch your YouTube for an hour and freeze frame through the book, they're more than welcome to. Like, if you were that broke, good sir, please, you have my permission. You have all my permission. Just know it hasn't been edited, so it may be changed. But if you need to pause to read this book because you broke, I've been there, bro. I've been there.
Yeah.
Do it.
You've seen how many things he's backed. He's
still
definitely been there.
Tony will tell you I found a typo.
Of course, you're gonna find typos. This is the worker proof.
Yeah. So here's the initial story of how Dorothy gets to meet different mythical creatures. Right. I think that's kind of cool.
She's 14, by the way, the artist.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, she's very talented.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, that's why we had to do it.
Killer.
Dorothy and 14 thought it would really good, really fit.
Nice.
She also has an amazing beard.
Yes, phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then here's an art change, but it's kind of the first idea of the connection to Oz, which I think is cool, right? So you get very creepy in black and white. Here's one thing that we didn't talk about, so I will stop here for a second, and it is mentioned on the page. Between a lot of the stories, you get kind of this invasion day notation, and then some poems that really help set the stage for the next story. So, Travis, I'll make you big real quick. What kind of led to that inspiration as like the connection between each of the individual stories?
Well, they're only, first off, only select characters have it. So only the major characters will have their own poem. But I really wanted to give a little bit of Lovecraftian feel. So Lovecraft, and he was very poetic, and even though he wrote novels, he was very poetic and very rhyming when he wrote stuff in this weird, creepy way. Not like Edgar Allan Poe, but in his own way, he had this kind of feel to him. So I knew a poet who was really good. I wanted to be part of the book. In fact, a lot of us as creators, he's backed a lot of your books. He's a really good guy. His name's David Gresham. So I added him to the book to kind of add a little bit of a feel and a little break in between these things. And it gives us a place to put those days of the invasion and kind of give people an idea of where we're at in the timeline. What you'll see when the actual final product come in, there'll also be a few prose that are written by me and my wife that kind of tell some of the stories that are flowing through.
Nice. And like I said, I like that because it really starts to kind of bring them together. I liked this, How to Own a Dog Responsibly. And I thought this was a really cool, like, Cthulhu owning the Emerald Kingdom. But, like...
So Travis was just talking about Lovecraft's writing. I looked it up, and hplovecraft.com has actually got the original public domain books for free. So
nice.
hplovecraft.com, if you want to do any back reading, if you want to see where some of this stuff came from.
Oh, wait, we're going through.
Yeah, you can go slow.
Yeah,
You don't have to speed through this. You can go slow. Don't worry about it. If
I
someone
was
wants,
just afraid
again,
of-
if someone wants to steal the book and they want to pause,
right there,
have
right
fun.
there.
You
So
forgot
Yeah.
Chuck. You got to back up to Chuck's. Back up to Chuck.
I just hold on. Go back for 1 second. I just want to point out.
Am I going up or down?
You're going down for a second to the TikTok. I just want to point out how badass Craig made TikTok and his crew. Like it looked like a 90s like rap album. Where'd it go?
Further down.
There
Right
you
there.
go. Like the
Yeah.
opening there, it looks like a 90s rap
Oh,
album. It's
yeah.
absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the scene from Office Space when they're all smashing the computer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I like how it all fits and it doesn't feel like a massive jarring change from one story to the next. And even if I'm reading very different styles, right, I get either a little bit of a palate cleanse in the poetic passage between it, but like if you like any kind of art, you are seeing it in this. Like I like the opening of the third eye. Where was the other one? There's that ass again. I feel like this just needs to be a t-shirt of the lion turning around. What was the sunscreen where the baby's getting its diaper pulled down? Like that's the lion. But like you get really cool action sequences. Heart of Rust is pretty cool in terms of getting some pirate action and some shark and Cthulhu action. Here's kind of a shift in that story, which is cool in terms of the guy who gets the helmet that can bring in the flying monkeys, and then seeing like flying monkey tentacle porn is terrifying to me. Like I might not take my insomnia medicine tonight because I saw this image. Oh, hey, Gorilla Todd, what's going on? Gorilla Todd is good people. He's another teacher. He is in the battleground state of Nevada.
Ooh.
Well, I actually found out why Nevada's not sending out their votes. Apparently, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and they're just not telling. What is?
There was a press conference that the way, like, Nevada doesn't have a common voter database, so it's at 10 a.m. their time every day is when you'll see the next wave of votes. That I learned that while watching, like, y'all were talking about Silverback cutting a promo the other night. Like, this guy's press conference, he was cutting a promo. I liked the Emerald Guards in terms of, like, you get the deep, hard green of the Emerald City, and then it's rattled here. That I just like kind of the violent shift within that story. Hear them bees.
Them bees.
Them bees.
There's the chess match. So, I mean, you're getting all kinds of different artistic styles. And I think even from just like a reading standpoint, right, that you can enjoy each one of these stories for what it is outside of the grander story arc. And then I might out myself as maybe this is kind of my favorite.
Okay.
Is the Yellow Brick Road from an artistic standpoint. Like I kind of like this jarred, like stained glass feeling.
Yeah.
That I think that's a style that you don't see used all that often. And I think it's really cool, especially in the final third of the text from like, here's where you get both a really cool story, but also radically different art from what you see anywhere else. And that's not a knock on anything else in the book, but I felt like here, as I'm hitting the last, 15, 20 pages, you get something fresh and different that if you are sitting here binge reading this trade, this does something really cool at kind of shocking you back into kind of leaning in and not like, okay, I'm power reading through it. There's them bees again.
Them bees.
But like, I like how every story feels different, like in anthology, but instead of being disjointed like an anthology, and I won't do the last 10 pages to spoil it, but I really like how it all flows together.
You got to show that art. That's a different one more story at least. You don't have to show the ending.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I won't. Since you're the boss, I won't say no to that.
Yeah, right.
I think he said just give it away, right?
We've announced it. We have announced it, by the way, in another chat, because we agreed that we would greenlight what you're trying to hide at 10,000.
Yeah. Okay.
So it is greenlighted. So you can go ahead and announce it if you'd like. Someone already mentioned in the chat. You can.
What did I miss in the chat?
Cthulhu and the next book. What'd you say?
Yeah.
What the next book is? What the sequel is?
Cthulhu in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's cool, and I think it's a cool connection. Like I said, I'm not blowing smoke because there are all of you in here who could be like, fuck this guy. But this is just good from a storytelling and an art perspective, because it's an anthology. Like most anthologies will have natural stopping points between stories, but this is an anthology that reads like an entire book. It's something that I did not want to stop doing. Like, I was reading this at school, had about 20 pages left, and I was like, I could go pick up new books from my comic shop now, or I could finish reading this. And I had to finish because I was so invested in a binge read. And that's nothing that I've ever gotten from any other kind of anthology work. That anthologies are like looking at it as the collection, as it ties to a topic, as looking at it within its own kind of vacuum. But this one is just so good in terms of how story A feeds into B, feeds into C, and how it's just constantly visually changing the landscape to keep you engaged. And I think that that's something that gets pulled off in a brilliant way and makes me want to back any Cthulhu Invades sort of premise, because, you set the bar really, really high here. And if Chuck is right that he creates some competition, and Travis is right by saying he sees some payoff from that, then I think y'all have stumbled into a brilliant Cthulhu crossover with anything that won't let expectations down. And I think that's really testament to just how awesome the cast of all of the creative talent is on this book, that I can't underscore it enough, that looking at everybody listed on the page, and it's like, I like all of the shit that you do individually, to see you all cross over. This is like now that is what I call Indie Comics Hits Volume 1. Right? Because it's
Kids Pop version, but yes.
So I get to do my stick.
Really...
Go ahead.
Oh, thanks. Something I thought was really cool, and I don't know if this was said prior to me coming on, to kind of piggyback on what you were saying. I love how everything flows in the book with the different stories and stuff, and I think it works because Oz is such a magical place. Damn near every time we visit Oz, it looks completely different. So no matter what the art style is in the book, it just flows because Oz can be anything we imagine it to be.
I think that's a very, very good point. I like that a lot, Mike.
So I get to do my stick figure art for Wonderland, right, Travis?
Yeah, exactly. You get you get one page, but it's not a reoccurring joke. It's just a one-page joke.
That's fair. That's fair.
One page, one panel, basically. Just like that.
That could be a stretch goal for Wonderland, right? That you unlock. Like, I've got a Vala poster that Stony had a hand in on my wall back here. Like, I want a Stony Williams stick figure pinup poster on my back wall to complement the set. But like I said, I like this a lot, and I think it's something that is really cool, and I hope that enough people back it so it sees the light of day and justifies the next one and the next one and the next one, especially in a world where a book like Once and Future is as hot as it is. If you can make people care about yet a new version of the Arthurian mythos and then bring in Beowulf, like, if that book is going to be sustainable from, like, let's tie into every literature base we can, then Lovecraft plus anything should sell like hotcakes, regardless of the level of talent that you have. But with as talented as this first group is, any book, like, it should be phenomenal. And I think that that's something that, Travis, you should be applauded from the vision and kind of picking the people you want. But then I think, you know, Stony, Chuck, Mike, Craig, and David, and then everybody else we couldn't fit onto the stream, although we can still get 3 more people. Like, I think this really showcases why indie comics are as hot as they are right now. Why Kickstarter is as much of a gold mine as it is right now for people like me who want to find all kinds of different folks to get into, because you all are writing with purpose, creating with purpose, drawing with purpose, inking with purpose, that you are doing this out of, I think, a broader love of the game than sometimes people who are working for the big 2 publishers, where it's like, you got to crank this out because this is a bi-weekly issue, or you got to crank this out because this is our biggest title. And I know, like, I enjoy many a big 2 titles, but there's just a different feeling from people who work exclusively in the indie world versus people who may kind of dip their feet in both pools. And I think this really, it is that greatest hits. It's the Kids Bop. It's the Now. It's the greatest crossover of indie talent who has worked for every independent publisher, who has just been on a meteoric rise, you know, during and post COVID, you know, the distribution delay of COVID. And I think that's really, really, you know, applause worthy for what you all have pulled off.
Yeah, I really appreciate everything you said there, and that's really the point of it, is showing the talent, you know. And some of these guys grew in talent, right? John Hendricks literally had nothing, and now he's writing for Recount next month that comes out for Scout, you know. Mm-hmm. That's a big deal. Like, some of these guys have grown with it. But one of the things, what did I want to say? There was something I really wanted to point out. Crap.
I will say that somewhere in his speech is our pull quote for the book. Because holy crap, I'm listening, I'm like, damn, thank you.
Yeah. Watch it on the rewind and take it, because my like bucket list dream is to have an incoherent blurb from something I've ever said or written on the back page of a book, where it can be like, fuck it, I'll still buy comics, but I'm done now.
Chuck's the editor. He can make it happen. So
okay.
Wait, Chuck, that should be the quote. The part where he said, you said, "Fuck it, I'm out of here." That should be the.
That should be it. That's it right there.
Fuck it, I'm out of here.
I mean, we all know So I recently had a pull quote from Rob Liefeld that's going to be on my next Broke Down book, and it says, "Travis Gibb, go fuck yourself." That is my pull quote from Rob Liefeld, and I'm really excited. I think it'll sell books. I think it's going to really help.
I'll slab one of those and show it full quote side out, like, fuck the cover. I want Rob Liefeld telling you to go fuck yourself. Like, that's on brand.
What I was going to say, actually, I remember one of the things that's beautiful about this, and why I think everyone took it so seriously, and why people love it, and why you love it, is this is the first time for many of the creators in this book to be able to work on someone else's franchise, something else that they care about and love, right? We all want to get Spider-Man, we all want to get Batman, we all want to get Cap, or for me, Darkhawk. You know, they all want these higher level characters. And a lot of us aren't going to get there. Let's just be honest. Like, the pool's too big, and like the stuff. This is us doing things in continuity and adding to the history and adding a story in that world. So that's, I think, why everyone took it so seriously and why you got such good quality stuff out of here, is because we love the people who wrote and create, because we're writers and creators. We respect and love the craft.
Nice. Well,
Yeah,
I think that
super nice.
you see that as a fan, right? As someone who reads, like, I can feel and see that. All right, we've been together for an hour and a half, and I might need to go see if everybody's asleep and / pee before I pee my pants. So I'll bigatize you all one at a time, and you can, aside from plugging this awesome project that everybody should definitely back because it is an amazing intersection of the independent community. Here's your opportunity to pimp your own project outside of this, or what we can see from you next outside of Cthulhu Invades Oz. So Chuck, who was the first student in class today and was here way early and has his own special banner, you can go first.
And I even brought my apple for the teacher. Yeah, what's going on, guys? I'm Chuck Pineau. I'm a freelance writer and editor. Yeah, I've got a couple things going on right now. If you look below, you'll see Belial 2. The original creator of Hell is back and ready to take his powers back from the Four Horsemen in order to steal his domain from Lucifer. So that's going on right now. We're really excited about that. We're just about to hit our second stretch goal. So even if you hop on, you know you're going to get the book and you're going to get a bunch of awesome toys with it. Also, because my belief in life is go big or go home. Why do one Kickstarter or 2 Kickstarters when you can do 3? So I also have an audio drama that I've helped co-create called Essence House. And you can already pick up the first 17 chapters of that on any of your major podcasting sites. And what's really cool is we've decided, hey, it's nice being a comic creator, but I'd also like to be an author. So we're turning that into a novel. So you can find Essence House, the novel, on Kickstarter now.
I don't have a banner for that one. You only get one.
That's all good, homie. No, I don't. I'm not too greedy.
All right, Stony, you're next.
I'm Stony Williams, the bald bearded bard across social media. I have Villainous. Issue 1 is in stores now. Issue 2 is out November 11th. There's the beautiful cover for that. This is what I'm pushing right now. Cthulhu Invades Oz. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. And I'm so excited. At the very back page of my book is an ad for Savage Bastards. Collect issues 1 through 5, October 2020. And yeah, that's it. Issue 4 is up for pre-order. If you can't get it, if your local comic book store has trouble, they can contact Mad Cave directly to get copies. There are variants on madcave.com. The Threadless store has an entire Villainous collection where you get shoes and shirts and all kinds of really cool stuff. So that's me, Bald Bearded Bard.
Oh, I kicked Stony to the back and didn't mean to. All right, Craig, I'll bring you up next since you are drawing your heart out right there.
Hey, thanks, guys. I'm Craig Florence. I'm an illustrator. My most recent work, and I guess what I would plug here, if you guys want to help a good cause, is Border X, A Crisis in Graphic Detail. That book was created to benefit the South Texas Human Rights Center. They do clean water stations, legal aid, and search and rescue for migrants in the desert. Really proud to be on that book. A ton of incredible creators, including Mr. Jerome Gagnon, our favorite. Also, if you want to check out Always Punch Nazis Volume 3 is coming out very soon. I'm very happy to be included in that book as well. Yeah, I'm super excited about Cthulhu and always working on other projects. Yeah, again, thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, our other artist, Mike, you are up next.
Oh, what's up? So you guys can find me everywhere as Most Epic Art on all social media. What I have cooking in the kitchen is a lot of different stuff, but very excited that probably here next day or two I'll be completing the pencils and inks on Hot Shot number 10, technically our 11th issue. I want to shout out LaShawn Coven. She has an awesome comic book store that you guys should all go check out. And actually, I'm gonna try to grab the link for it so I can post it because I've just had it on there. But it's really cool, and you guys should go check out LaShawn on Facebook and things like that.
And if any of you have a link to something that you just dropped that you want me to put in the description of the video, drop it in the private chat, and I'll copy and paste it over there when we're all done. That way, people can see it. David, I know Stony might have spoiled a little bit of yours with the Savage Bastards trade, but
It's because we love each other too much.
I love the evolving names.
So yeah, came out with the I can't even talk right now. Came off with the trade for Savage Bastards 1 through 5. A lot of extra cool art in there from Carlos Angeli, the artist on the book. Keep your eyes out for a book coming out from Second Sight by John Hedrick. It's called Freak Show Night. I actually have a little piece in the back of that book. It was part of a Kickstarter that we did. I did a little like ash can for him. And yeah, I was happy to be on this project. I've got a couple more things in the works. So, follow me on social media and see what I'm up to.
Nice. All right, and then we'll bring in the boss last. The mastermind behind Cthulhu Invades Oz. Travis, what do you got?
You mean Lovecraft and H-Bomb? Yes, they're coming up next. Yes, me. I've got a whole bunch of stuff. First, I want to say thank you to all of the guys in the comments. You guys have been awesome. I love you guys. Yeah, literally, we've done a few of these now, and you guys have been the best. I think a lot of you guys are great. So thank you. We're looking for 2 more backers to get us to 300, which is super exciting. So obviously Cthulhu Invades Oz, that's the most important thing. But right now on Kickstarter, I have 2 other books out. They're like werewolves. I'm in Nightwolf Volume 1. I did a 4-page backup for them. They unlocked me as a stretch goal. So I did a 4-page backup in there, which you can check out. If you like werewolves and kind of werewolf the apocalypse stuff, vampires and werewolves at war, you can really dig that book. That trades out. I also am in another anthology called The Great Commandment. And you can see me tell stories about angels, demons, and all fighting each other in a big epic war. I do a 10-page story on that with the story that you guys liked in here with the little stained glass. So that Arthur Martha, who's in this book, also did that for me.
Nice. All right. I want to say thank you to all of you who hopped on and everybody who was active in the chat. I'm going to pop you all to the backstage real fast to give a proper outro to the show. But it was nice to be able to meet and talk to all of you. I appreciate not just your work in this book, but the things that you all have done for indie comics in general. That it's people like you all that make me excited to constantly read and discover new things, to beat my shop to FOC or pick up on New Comic Book Day if I miss it. So I'm going to kick y'all off real fast. So remember, everybody, you can enter in the comments below what you would love to see Cthulhu mash up with. And my favorite title will get a I will back for you. And Travis has said that he will get at least 5 people to sign it for you. But you will get your own copy of Cthulhu Invades Oz. That is awesome. It is a really, really good story. And it's one of the things that I'm glad that, I've lucked into to have the ability to read and kind of check out. And y'all know that I love indie comics. And if I don't love something, then I'm not going to talk about it and I'm not going to talk shit on it. But this is something that I enjoy so much. And I really hope everybody checks it out. Check out CthulhuInvades.com. It will take you to the Kickstarter page. They are literally 2 backers away from both the next free comic and the next milestone issue. And you should check those out for ridiculously cheap deals, you can get a physical or digital copy of this story, and you want to own the greatest hits of indie comics. And with that, I will tell you the same thing that I say every time I end any of my videos. As always, thanks for stopping by, and have a good one.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3.